Yeah, then we come to what Seneca, the Roman orator, says. He says life is very anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear for the future. Well, I want to ask what we should do in the new nowness, Duane. Seal off the past, careless for the future, and maybe insulate ourselves in the present. What are we supposed to do, Duane?
Well, again, this is a little bit humorous, Charles, and that is the idea of what are we supposed to do? You ask the question, and it's not about that. You just simply decide what you want to do. It's not about what you're supposed to do. You know, we've been brought up in this world, and we have been taught to look to authorities. Our parents start off, they are actually authorities, is what they are. We look to them. They tell us what to do, and they tell us basically what we're supposed to do, right? And then as we go along, we go to school, we have teachers, and then as we grow up, we have to deal with society, and today it's the business world and government and all the different types of documents and forms and all this other stuff. Again, we're told what to do. So we've come along to this point, and again, like the Africans and almost everybody, it's like, well, what are we supposed to do? And I get that. I understand that, but it's not about that. And so again, and this is where when you come in and you creatively ask these questions, that it activates me to provide a better definition for people. Do you see how that works? And so, yes, people can ask that question, what are we supposed to do? But guess what? It has nothing to do with that. You know, like the sun shining, you know, is the sun asking itself, gee, what am I supposed to do? All right, it's already doing it. It's already shining. It's doing its part. And it's not that we'll just be like the sun, like Duane talks about, shine like the sun. Well, that's part of it, okay, but there's a whole lot more. So the past, the present, and the future, these ideas that we look to, well, they're necessary also because they're part of creation. And so again, each individual can arrange those ideas any way they want. You see, this is where everybody can have everything they want in life. And now you more so understand that, yes, it's not about what are we supposed to do. It's about you decide what you want to do. For me, I have learned this lifetime again and again. We've all been through this process so many times. And now I've finally figured it out to where, you know, I just want to stand real with the is. Because it's everything. And the is all about real survival. It's not about chasing thrills, being happy, going through drama, you know, boy meets girl and all these things. We do these things. That's in the personal self. But the reality of our real awareness is recognizing that because, again, through lifetimes we've groped to try and find ourselves. And the idea with these paths we've been through, you're really just dealing with the personal self still because you're still in creation. You're not getting, even though they call it self-realization and then God realization, guess what? It's still the personal self. Corporation that I went through. And they got these grandiose ideas, and they're just created ideas, and it's just still with their personal self. Their personal self still comes first. Yeah, because they live in a business world, and they're doing good, personally. Okay, so fine, whatever. So the picture is much bigger, and yes, you got to figure it out. So I've given the hint. I like the idea of, you know, learn to see and recognize what the sun is demonstrating. This is an objective view for you to start to recognize your real awareness. I really like that. There's many ways to do that. There's endless ways. You decide, you pick it. Okay, so I'm just giving a reference. But this is a really cool one. I really like it, and it's there. It's right here. to start you off. And so that's the best part. And it's not that anybody's supposed to do anything. You decide to get up in the morning. It's like, do you ask yourself, am I supposed to get up? No, you don't ask yourself that, do you? But maybe some people do. Am I supposed to go to bed now? It's 9 o'clock, etc. Well, whatever, you decide. If you decide to ask the question, you've decided to ask the question. You see, this is where it becomes a little bit funny, but you don't have to anymore. Look at the birds out there. They don't do that. Am I supposed to fly now? You see? It's all the same thing. It's really rather humorous. You see, we've been brought up to be scheduled, to obey authorities, etc., look to authorities. This is where we get these ideas from. And I'm not saying that we rebel against the system, but we're actually rebelling in our own way because we're deciding to recognize our real awareness to where we don't need authorities anymore. This is what's so cool about it. Real universes, no restrictions, no authorities. But you got to recognize that while you're still here. But you still deal with these funny things because you've got a body here. It's just like your car. You got to park it somewhere, right? And then let's say if you live in an apartment and they don't have enough parking spaces, well, you got to park it on the street, don't you? And if you forget to move it on those days that they do the street cleaning, you get a ticket, don't you? Yes. Well, they do here. Yes, and all these funny things. Or somebody steals it, or they kick in the door and you got a dent, etc. So, and that's like our bodies that we carry here. We got to deal with them. And it is hard. It is a hell of a struggle here. It really sucks is what it does. It really is. This is why people cry out. But in the long run, it is necessary. Also, the overall idea of the new presentation is just that, to present to others, to give them the possibility. This is where you're standing real with the all is, when you recognize it. It's more than just a cutesy idea or Mother Teresa being nice, okay? And that is reaching the individual's real awareness and how you creatively can do that. So it's not that a person's supposed to do something. You decide your life and your adventure. You decide that. That's the adventure part, you see? So you get the basic idea, and then you decide to, create something, whatever. So I've created all these things. The wonderful worldwide educators, universal surfers, the Nations United, and on, the new presentation, and many, many other things, the Vessel Project, etc., to give people ideas. And on the real side, these things are completed. But it takes agreement for them to come into the physical. So we'll go back to the struggling Africans, and everybody is struggling here. So to create something that gets agreement. So I've created the new presentation, and I have some agreement here. Those that have stepped up here and others, they're looking at it, they're starting to agree. It's not about what I've created, it's the reference that's the most important, and I use creation to reference what is truly real, but each individual is going to experience that for themselves, and they're going to decide if they want to step up and support. And again, in the beginning, your question was with the group thing. Some people don't like groups and that, and I've had that. It's like, well, I don't want to be a groupie. Well, it's not about being a groupie. It's about learning what's going on through the groups, then eventually being creative and realistic, not just, just being happy with the world and, I'll just love the world and everything will be okay. Well, guess what? It ain't working. It's not working at all. It looks like it works. And people in their personal relationships, yeah, you have that love affair. That's a personal thing. But when it comes to the overall of life, it's real survival, and this planet is not surviving. No way. It is in a huge demise, and we're trying to offset it to show people how to become more aware. It's through that, then through that process, as they become more aware, they start to be more creative and see that the old ways don't work and start to make better choices. It's very simple, but there's such a bigger picture than that you cannot even consider. But you got to go through the process. You got to face yourself. You got to do it. You got to take the risk every day, every moment. That's the best part. I like that. Seeing what you cannot see. That's the reality life is, because life is invisible. It becomes visible according to the five bodies. But the reality of it, the best part, is the silent, invisible trueness it is, and that is everything. So again, you decide how to see it. You decide how to see and be and do what you do in creation. But yes, the real risk takers step up and do something, because, we're not liked in this world. We're not liked in the solar system. We're not liked in this galaxy or all of creation. Not at all, because the Dark Lords that have decided to be the conquerors and self-proclaimed gods, they don't want anybody that is not obedient to their will, and they're deciding whatever. So, yes, so the old question exists, gee, what do I do? What do I do with my life, or what am I supposed to do? That comes from the lash of the old gods telling you what to do. We don't do that. You do whatever you want. Figure it out. That's the fun part, is to figure it out and have fun with it. Yes. Again, as Kelsey and Kevin and whatever, and as you attend these things and you attend what they're doing, you see that. And, they're on their way to better recognizing this. They're on their adventure. They're doing something fun in reference to the real guides that support them and the isness itself. Yes. There you go, Charles.